Hi, how you doing? It's Saturday night here in Portland, Oregon on March 21st. Second day of spring. Well, hasn't even been a whole day yet actually, because it started at 4:44 a.m. yesterday morning. That's been a whole day, not 2 days. Hi, how you doing? We're in Portland, Oregon, where they were holding the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, our home team, Portland State, they lost their game against Xavier. Too bad. We don't really care about all that. Not really. You know as well as I'm more of a political sort, being the Earthling and Gerald. Hi, Angela. How are you, sweetie? Let's start with a little intro. Well, good evening, and a few things to say about it. Some good stuff going with the medical marijuana community. For one thing, they've stopped the raids. I guess they really have. I've heard some positive messages down in California. A lot of it thanks to Angela there, co-marijuana. What a sweetheart. She's so professional. Somebody should hire that girl. She'd be an asset. Let me tell you. They do have this thing coming out here in Oregon, though, about how they want the initiative is that the state will grow the medical marijuana, and it would have to, of course, be dispensed by them to us. One of the good things about that, I think, that if you're on a New Oregon health plan, it probably won't cost you anything, and they'll finally recognize it as a bona fide treatment, which would be wonderful. I've had more than enough trouble with doctors just discussing it, let alone wanting to sign the conditions sheet to, so the state can make that move to prove that you have the conditions necessary to make your life easier. As do all treatment plans. That's the whole point to them. Some of us are worse off than others. I know there's some worse off than me. Well, of course there are. My major thing is I've, lost my legs, of course. We know about that. That's who I am. But there's a lot of, I had broken my back and re-injured it twice now. Oh, gosh. So painful sometimes. And as you can see, I'm, for one thing, missing fingers. And the ones I do have, they don't like to straighten out anymore. They're kind of, I'm not trying to moan it, I'm just letting you know. Excuse me. I'm only 55. Can you imagine someone out there in their 70s having to deal with these problems? With no insurance. With nothing really to fall back on. Can you imagine the stress they must be under? And then they've got hypertension to boot. I wonder if y'all think about stuff like that. And I wonder if you think about our actual Bill of Rights. For instance, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right? Correct? Oh, it's Mr. Biscuit. Sorry for the interruption. Well, if one doesn't have sustenance, if one has the inability to gather or somehow attain sustenance, then they don't have life, because they'll die, right, without food. So they have the right to be fed. No one has the right to charge them to feed them, especially considering the federal government. Anyone within the federal government should know they have the right to live. Excuse me a second, I'm very thirsty. Medication does that to you, So let's get back to that. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Can we really define the pursuit of happiness? The only real definition would be, of course, local or personal. Because one person's trash is another's treasure, as they say. So, that would be a tough one. Except to say, whatever. Do what you want, mate. Just don't invade someone else's space doing it. Pretty simple, right? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, to use an obvious Bible quote. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm a godless atheist, but that doesn't mean that the people that wrote those materials weren't talented writers. Of course they were, and charismatic souls to boot, because of the way they were able to convince millions of people that this magical creature is up there and watching over every one of us a little bit. Well, what about the other billions on all the other millions of planets? Well, of course, we're not the only one. Let's get back to the politics and such that I was. So we do have a right to life and liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And life is definitely sustenance. Nowadays, you can't do anything without electricity. So, like in Sweden, they take it upon themselves to realize that to take care of their own, they must provide them with the infrastructure to do so, including communications, electricity to power items that otherwise you can't use. They don't make unpowered items anymore. You'd have to make your own. Oh yeah, there's the pioneers, people out there that just love living without technology. But you know, you, as well as I, know that people really generally would rather live together, and they'd rather live together in groups and in the easiest way possible. Because, of course, there's always psychological and social dynamics within a group, and they get all tangled in the weave webs here, and then there's another web weaved over there, and then they don't practice their deception very well. Well, that was kind of good, wasn't it? And so they can't remember one day. You make up a lie, you have to remember it every day. I know. Are you crazy? That's why Just Judy always says, if you tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. And that should be true with everyone. Leave them be, let them do as they do, be as they be. To salute Angela and others out there in the medical marijuana community, of which I am a proud partner and part of. Not because I'm really not proud of being it, because it's a necessity and it's painful to be this proud member of the medical marijuana. Don't get me wrong, I'm not really. Never mind. Someone will inevitably jack my speech up to mean something way beyond what I meant, which is just to continue with the, you know, how a guy like me sits around, we don't have anything to do, I can't drive, there's a lot of things I can't do, I have panic attack, high blood pressure besides congestive heart failure, and yes, smoking is terrible, but there's a lot of other things that are worse than I do, trust me. I take opiates every day. But the doctor gave me those, so that's okay. Trust me, it's fine. And they'll let me have all I want. Yeah? So, Angela, thank you. I tip my hat to you. I'm sorry you have to live over there where you do, where it's getting hard to get your medical marijuana. Nice. Nice. So, those are a few thoughts of mine, and a few more are going to come out. There's like, can you imagine the billions that could be saved by at least decriminalizing marijuana?